Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be answering common pregnancy questions. They are questions that I found online and also questions that I had before I was pregnant. And so I thought I would share my answers with you guys. So I have quite a list here of questions and I'm just gonna go through each of them. Some of them will have shorter answers and some of them will probably be a little bit longer. So I'm gonna start with, what were your earliest symptoms? My earliest symptoms were extreme fatigue, having to pee constantly, and an increased appetite. In fact, right before I took a pregnancy test, I think the weekend before, I was so tired. Even my husband was like, "Are you okay? What's wrong?" Because I could not stay awake for anything. I would wake up and then I would take a nap at like 10. And it was the weirdest thing. And that same weekend, I actually ate like a full breakfast platter thing from McDonald's. And I normally can never even finish one of those things. But I had that plus the donut sticks and a little bit of my husband's meal. It was like, what's going on? Because that is not like me. I have an eyes way bigger than my actual appetite. So those were like the biggest indicators for me. And I was like, okay, something is off. I can just tell that this is like not normal. And that other symptom, having to pee, oh my gosh. I literally think I counted, and in one morning I went like 4 or 5 times. And I was like, okay, this is not normal. It was just the weirdest thing how I just like had that urge and had to go constantly. And so those were a little bit of like red flags, and I was like, something must be up. So the next question I have is, how soon did you take a pregnancy test? I had my first symptoms at like 9 days past ovulation, and I took a pregnancy test 13 days past ovulation. The test actually was positive 13 days past ovulation, and that was 1 day before my period was expected to come. So I wanted to hold off because I didn't want to test too early, and I just thought, okay, 13 days past ovulation is a safe time to take a test. So I have, did you just know you were pregnant before the pregnancy test was positive? I think that the symptoms I had were what gave me an idea that I could be pregnant. I have not really experienced anything like those symptoms before. And so for me, my PMS symptoms are like cramps, bloating, pretty standard PMS symptoms. But the things that I was experiencing that weekend prior to taking that pregnancy test were so far from anything I've experienced. And so I think that those symptoms are what made me kind of just know that I might be pregnant. So the next question that I feel like a lot of people really want to know is, was the pregnancy planned? And I can answer this with yes. It was planned. We were trying. We did not, however, expect to conceive as quickly as we did, so that part was a little bit surprising. And I do want to say we are so grateful, because I know that sometimes trying to conceive can be a very long process. It is not lost on us that we are fortunate to have conceived as quickly as we did. We also did not conceive after quarantine started. It was prior to quarantine, because we announced to our parents that we were having a baby when restaurants were open still. So that's my little like tidbit of proof that he's not a coronial or a quarantine baby. But yes, our pregnancy was absolutely planned. So moving on to the next question, it is, do you exercise during pregnancy? And I do. I actually did not really exercise before pregnancy. And I knew as soon as I got pregnant that I really needed to get some sort of exercise routine in, because I wanted to really help myself as my pregnancy progressed with like strength and preparing for labor and delivery. And so I do exercise. I've been working out probably since the 2nd or 3rd month of my pregnancy. I did have to stop briefly due to a little complication that I'll explain a little bit later. For the most part, yes, for my entire pregnancy, I have been exercising. So the workout program I do is through Beachbody, and I do their prenatal workouts. I do the prenatal bar, prenatal cross training, it's like active maternity. And then I also do their prenatal yoga. And I like to like break it up throughout the week. So like I start out with like barre Monday and Tuesday, and then I go into like active maternity, and then I do yoga on Thursday. And Friday I usually take a break because I do want to allow myself that time to rest because I am pregnant, and so I do realize that I have to like take it a little bit slower and not try to do 5 days of exercise in a row. But yes, I do work out. So the next thing I have on here is, do you drink coffee while pregnant? And I do. I think there was probably like a week in the beginning of my pregnancy where I was trying to stay away from caffeine. The caffeine withdrawals were worse, I think, than what it would have been if I had caffeine. So I just made sure that I don't drink more than 200 milligrams a day. And I really just have like one small cup of like an iced coffee. That's the extent of it. And I don't drink caffeinated sodas because I do try to watch my caffeine intake. So I do drink coffee. I don't drink a lot of coffee, but yeah, coffee is a must for me. The next question is, how much weight have you gained during your pregnancy so far? And I am about 8 months pregnant now, and I have gained around 23 to 24 pounds. So I probably will gain at least a couple more before my pregnancy is over. So the next question is, have you had any complications throughout your pregnancy? And I did have a little complication at the very beginning. It was in my first trimester and a little bit of my second trimester. I had placenta previa. It was the mild form of it, but I found out at my 13-week scan that there was a case of placenta previa. So they told me to rest, so pelvic rest, no exercise or anything, and I did for about a month. And they were saying because it was mild, there was a chance that it could just like totally resolve on its own and that the placenta would move up as my pregnancy progressed. And thank goodness it did. But that was that time where I was not able to exercise. So there was about a month of no exercise or any like pelvic activity of any sort. Next question is, have you thrown up at all? I think I've mentioned this a couple times already in past videos, but I had very mild morning sickness and I'm very thankful for that. So no, I have not thrown up during my pregnancy so far. And I'm crossing my fingers that I do not throw up before the end of this pregnancy. The next question is, what pregnancy cravings have you had? I have craved so many salty foods, definitely like bacon, tri-tip, burgers, I can't get enough of. Honestly, like protein-rich foods are what I've craved my entire pregnancy. And now I'm kind of going through a phase where I'm craving sweets. So like donuts sound really good. I really want like donuts from a donut shop, like one of those like authentic donut shops. Ice cream, I'm back on ice cream. At the beginning of my pregnancy, could not stand ice cream, but I do have a love for ice cream again. And yeah, I would say those are my biggest cravings and have been throughout my pregnancy. Do you have pregnancy brain? Yes, absolutely. I think in the beginning of my pregnancy, I actually even threw one of our knives away, not thinking. I cannot do basic math at this point now. Spelling is like lost on me, and prior to pregnancy, I was a pretty proficient speller, I feel like. I can't. Like, there's just so many things that my brain is like, what? Like, what is that? How do you add? Like, it's so weird. But yeah, definitely experienced pregnancy brain. Do you have any stretch marks? So far, I have not gotten any stretch marks. And I don't know if I'm going to before this pregnancy is over. I know my belly's probably going to grow quite a bit more because he gained so much weight in these last like 2 months. But so far, I have been fortunate and have not gotten any stretch marks. If I do get stretch marks, that's totally okay. That is just part of life. But I do use the Burt's Bees Mama Bee belly butter. And so I can't say for sure if that's what's keeping stretch marks at bay, but it's something that I do use every night. So hopefully it's doing something. But yeah, nope, no stretch marks so far. So the next question is, have you had sex during pregnancy? And yes, we have had sex. And there was a time where we couldn't when I had placenta previa and I had to be on pelvic rest. But yeah, we have had sex, and I will say, like, it's a little bit harder the farther along you get into pregnancy. But yeah, to answer that question, yes. I really like this next question. It's, has pregnancy brought you closer to your significant other or made you more distant? And I'm so thankful because it actually has brought my husband and I a lot closer. We were very close before, but this has just like created a bond for us that like we could not even fathom before. And so we're both so excited to be parents, and there's just so much like love and appreciation and joy in our relationship. And the idea of bringing a new baby into our family just like could not excite us more. When the baby kicks, what does it feel like? First, it felt like little flutters. And it's really hard to tell if it's the baby or what it is, or if it's just like digestion. But it did feel like little flutters or like little bubbles popping. But then the farther along you get, you start to feel like an actual like little tap, and it's so surreal. And then when you get super far along in your 3rd trimester, you feel like feet and hands, and like you can feel the baby like literally pushing into your ribs or pushing out on your stomach. It's so strange. And I was walking through the store today and I was like, oh my gosh, because it literally, like, my son was like pushing his foot as hard as he could into my ribs. So painful. And I think I actually like yelped, like I made like a little noise, and my husband was like, are you okay? Because yeah, he's very feisty, very active, loves to push his feet into my ribs. Going back to what does it feel like? In the beginning, it feels like little flutters. Towards the middle, it feels like little taps, or like honestly like someone's like flicking you from the inside, if that even makes sense. And then towards the end, it just feels like someone is literally straight up kicking you in your bladder, your ribs, your organs. Like, that is the best way to describe it. Are you having a normal baby shower? So we are in the middle of a global pandemic, which is something I never thought I would say, but here we are. And sadly, my answer to this is no, I am not having a normal baby shower. We just want to be on the safe side, you know, err on the safe side of caution. So we're going to have a virtual baby shower, which I actually will be making some videos about. So you can stay tuned for those because I'm really excited. It's something that I've never experienced, and I feel like it's something that's so new because 2020 has brought up so many new experiences for all of us, like working from home or like Zoom meetings all the time. I am excited to share my virtual baby shower experience with you guys. And that leads me into my next question, which is, what is it like being pregnant in a pandemic? Oh man, this one I have a lot of thoughts on. I have to say, at first, I really struggled, like with my whole pregnancy being pretty much like distant from family and friends, and having to make those decisions of where like you can't go to family events. Like, there's so many holidays we just have not gotten to experience this year. And then of course, like, there's the aspect of shopping for a while was like not possible. You couldn't go in stores. So we were really excited to buy stuff for our baby, but we knew that we couldn't because stores weren't open. And so there was just there's so many layers to this. But I have to say, one bright side for my situation is my husband is actually fortunate enough to work from home during all of this, and it has brought us so much closer, and we have had so much good bonding time because of this. Like, he's home every day with me, and it's so hard for me to picture when he eventually does go back to work because I have seriously cherished these days with him. It's also really nice because it's before the baby comes, so we've just had so much time together. And we've also been able to prepare the nursery way more than we would be able to if he were working in the office Monday through Friday. There's just so many things and opportunities that have been presented to us because he's been able to work from home. But with that, he is not able to come to any appointments with me because it wasn't safe or it hasn't been safe. Family, we're not able to see. I don't know. There's definitely so many more downsides to it, but I'm trying to look on the bright side because I know that there really are so many worse things. For our situation, like, we're very fortunate, especially because my husband can work from home. So to summarize that way shorter, because that was very long-winded, I would say that it is that part of it is really hard. And then on the other side, like, we're just thankful that Kevin can work from home and we're really enjoying this time together. So that those are my answers for what it's like being pregnant in a global pandemic. Will you be allowing people to meet or visit you and the baby after he is born? Yes, we have put so much thought into this, and it's just not practical for us to stay away from our family for several more months after the baby's born. With that being said, it will not be like a typical family get together. It will be one where we have to like wash our hands constantly, where masks are worn if they're around the baby and around us, and we will have to be really limiting the first couple months of who we come into contact with. We'll really probably stick to like immediate family at first, just to be on the safe side. And we just feel like that is probably the best way to go about this situation, because we truly never could have imagined that when our son was born, there would still be an ongoing pandemic. But we also know that it would just not really like be practical to say nobody can see the baby, because that's not fair either. So that's our way of like kind of working through that, is masks, hand washing, and limiting visits to immediate family at first. Do you plan on getting an epidural? Yeah, 110%. Yes, I am not gonna try to be a hero. I highly respect and admire moms that have no pain management of any kind during labor. They have unmedicated labor and deliveries. That is freaking amazing. I am such a wimp when it comes to my pain tolerance, and so I just know that the epidural will probably be my best friend. So in an ideal circumstance, yes, I will definitely be getting an epidural if the situation is one that allows for it. Do you plan to breastfeed or bottle feed? I plan to breastfeed, and I also plan to pump. So hopefully our hope is that my husband can also bottle feed our son if, breastfeeding isn't great in a certain situation, or help with nightly feeds. But yes, I do plan to breastfeed. Have you had any feelings of fear about becoming a mom or giving birth? So for this question, I probably would have said a different answer a couple weeks ago, but I'm definitely so excited to be a mom. I'm a little bit afraid because it is a big responsibility, and so that's a little overwhelming. And then of course, labor and delivery terrifies me. But I wasn't really thinking that much into it. I don't think I had fully processed everything that is going to happen in the next couple of months until a couple days ago. It hit me out of nowhere. I don't know if it was a combination of a bunch of different things, but I was trying to do too many things at once. And one of those things was registering for the hospital, which I'm able to do online, thankfully. For some reason, and it's unbeknownst to me, my body was at its breaking point, and I did end up having a panic attack. I didn't understand what was going on. I could not breathe, and it scared me so bad. I didn't even know I was overwhelmed. So I think that's why I was so shocked about it. Looking back on it now, I can see that I think there was just so many things going through my head, as well as the fact that our son is going to be born in the next couple of months. And that's a very exciting but very overwhelming, scary feeling and thing to think about. And so that must have just hit me in that moment. And I did not even realize I had those fears or that anxiety until that happened. So I think a couple weeks ago, I would have been oh yeah, I'm scared, but I'm really excited. Because of my experience a couple days ago, I have to say, I guess I have a lot more anxiety about it than I realized in the first place. So, and I think that's totally normal, but now I'm just making sure to take each day like as it comes. I'm not trying to put too much pressure on myself to do 1,000,001 things. And I am allowing myself to take deep breaths and relax and feel a sense of peace in the midst of the feelings of like fear, because there are feelings of fear and that's totally normal. But yeah, I just wanted to be honest. It is totally normal to also have those feelings of fear, but it's just important that you don't let those feelings of fear consume you, because that's what happened to me, and that is why I believe I had that panic attack. And the last question is a fun one. I figured we'd end on a light note. It's, do you talk to the baby? Absolutely. My husband and I have so much fun, like have like not necessarily like full-on conversations, but we do love to talk to him, and I know that they can hear in the womb. So to think about that, that's like crazy that this little baby is listening to you when you're talking to them. Maybe they aren't wanting to listen to you, but I guess they really don't have a choice. But we love to talk to him. We love to play music for him. We do say his name all the time. Hopefully he knows his name when he's born, because we do use it a lot. And we do just love talking to him, and the feeling of talking to him and then feeling him move is like nothing I've ever experienced. Knowing that like he's reacting to our voices is so amazing, and I feel like that's probably one of my favorite parts of pregnancy. So that was a very long list of questions, but if there are any questions I did not answer, feel free to comment below any other questions about pregnancy that you may have, and I would be happy to answer them for you. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment down below, and to see more videos just like this, be sure to subscribe.